Hello, and welcome to today's discussion. I'm so glad you're here with me. Today, let's explore together how to approach those moments when we say things we don't really mean and find ourselves filled with regret afterward. If you've ever found yourself lying awake, replaying conversations where your words didn't match your intentions, you're certainly not alone in this experience. This is something that affects many people, and there's genuine hope for understanding and improving these patterns. The feeling of regret after impulsive speech is more than just an uncomfortable emotion. It's actually our brain's way of signaling that something important happened. Recent neuroscience research has revealed fascinating insights about why our brains sometimes seem to betray us in conversations, particularly during emotionally charged moments. A research institution conducted groundbreaking studies published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology that examined exactly what happens in our brains during these moments. Their findings showed that arousal, essentially how awake and alert we are, plays a crucial role in causing people to speak automatically rather than thinking things through first. When we're in these heightened states, our brains tend to produce responses that we would normally try to keep private, leading to that familiar feeling of immediate regret. The research team discovered that effective arousal increases both the amount and severity of what we disclose in conversations. What's particularly interesting is that this happens not just with emotional arousal, but also with physical arousal states. When our nervous system is activated, whether through stress, excitement, or even caffeine, our normal speech filtering mechanisms become less effective. Neuroimaging studies have provided even deeper insights into this process. When researchers examined brain activity during moments of anticipated regret, they found that specific cognitive control circuits become engaged. This provides actual physiological evidence that our brains have built-in systems for regulating our speech, but these systems can be overwhelmed during high arousal states. A major research institution's meta-analysis revealed that heightened arousal states essentially bypass our normal cognitive filtering mechanisms. This happens because the emotional centers of our brain, particularly the amygdala, can override the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for thoughtful decision-making and speech control. Think of it as your emotional brain speaking before your rational brain has a chance to review what's being said. Current research suggests that our experience of regret serves an important evolutionary function. It acts as a learning mechanism that encourages us to develop better communication patterns for the future. However, the challenge is that this learning often comes after we've already said something we wish we could take back. Studies from multiple universities have found that individuals who experience frequent speech regret often share certain characteristics. They tend to have higher baseline arousal levels, more reactive nervous systems, and sometimes less developed prefrontal cortex regulation skills. The encouraging news is that these are all areas where targeted interventions can make meaningful improvements. Now, let's explore some practical, scientifically backed methods that can help you develop better control over impulsive speech. These approaches are designed to work with your brain's natural systems rather than against them. The first method is what research institutions call the pause protocol. This involves implementing a 3-second pause before responding in any emotionally charged situation. While 3 seconds might seem brief, neuroimaging studies show this delay is sufficient to activate your prefrontal cortex, allowing rational thought processes to engage before automatic emotional responses take over. The key is to practice this technique regularly, even in low-stakes conversations, so that it becomes an automatic response when you need it most. During these 3 seconds, you can take a deep breath and ask yourself whether your intended response aligns with your actual feelings and intentions. The second approach focuses on arousal recognition training. Research has identified specific physiological markers that indicate when we're entering high-risk states for impulsive speech. These include increased heart rate, changes in breathing patterns, muscle tension, and sometimes even subtle changes in body temperature. A research institution's studies found that people who learn to recognize these early warning signs can intervene before their speech becomes impulsive. Practice involves regularly checking in with your body throughout the day, noticing these signals, and using them as cues to engage your pause protocol. The third method is pre-response intention setting. Studies show that when people enter potentially challenging conversations with clear intentions about how they want to express themselves, they're significantly less likely to say things they later regret. This involves taking a few moments before important conversations to identify your core message and the tone you want to convey. Research indicates that this type of pre-commitment strategy can reduce impulsive responses by up to 35%. You might write down key points you want to make or mentally rehearse how you want to handle difficult topics. A fourth approach that researchers have found particularly effective is the regret reversal technique. When you notice yourself about to say something potentially regrettable, mentally fast forward to imagine how you'll feel about those words in 24 hours. Neuroscience research demonstrates that this type of anticipated regret powerfully engages your brain's cognitive control circuits, often providing just enough pause to choose different words. The technique works because it activates the same neural pathways involved in long-term planning and consequence evaluation. The fifth method involves mindful speech training. This practice, supported by extensive research on mindfulness and neuroplasticity, involves deliberately slowing down your speech and paying full attention to each word as you say it. Start by practicing this for just 5 minutes during low-pressure conversations each day. Research shows that this type of mindfulness training actually increases activation in brain regions responsible for self-awareness and emotional regulation. Over time, this creates lasting changes in how your brain processes speech decisions. Environmental modification represents another evidence-based approach. Research institutions have found that environmental cues strongly influence our automatic responses. This involves identifying your personal high-risk situations, specific people, topics, or settings that tend to trigger impulsive speech, and preparing specific strategies for these scenarios in advance. For example, if certain family discussions tend to lead to regrettable comments, you might prepare calming phrases or decide to take breaks when emotions run high. To summarize what we've discussed today, I'd like to highlight 6 key points that can help you transform your relationship with impulsive speech. First, high arousal states naturally bypass your brain's normal speech filtering systems, which means impulsive speech isn't a character flaw but a neurological response that can be understood and managed. Second, implementing 3-second pauses before responding activates your prefrontal cortex and engages cognitive control, giving your rational mind time to guide your words. Third, anticipated regret serves as a powerful tool for reducing impulsive verbal responses by engaging the same brain circuits involved in planning and consequence evaluation. Fourth, mindfulness training creates lasting changes in speech-related neural pathways, literally rewiring your brain for better communication over time. Fifth, environmental preparation and awareness of your personal triggers can prevent automatic responses in challenging situations. Sixth, developing body awareness serves as an early warning system, helping you recognize when you're entering states that increase the risk of regrettable speech. As we conclude today's discussion, I want you to know that changing these patterns takes time and patience with yourself. Your brain's tendency toward impulsive speech developed over many years, and it will take consistent practice to create new neural pathways. The encouraging truth is that every time you successfully pause before speaking, every moment you choose mindful words over automatic reactions, you're literally strengthening the brain circuits that support thoughtful communication. You have the capacity to become someone who speaks with intention and authenticity, and each small step in this direction matters more than you might realize. If today's discussion provided any support or new insights, please hit the like button to help others discover this content. If you'd like to continue learning about mental health and communication together, please subscribe to stay connected with our ongoing conversations. Remember that change happens gradually, and being patient with yourself is part of the healing process. May your words increasingly reflect the wisdom and kindness in your heart. Thank you for listening until the end today, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.